high schools, like Provo High is not.
Okay.
But I hope that we see that.
So, Lone Peak, I went and talked to coaches before we got here, and the Lone Peak coach said, so one, they're starting a freshman keeper.
Ooh.
Right. So she's got 3 shutouts this year.
Yeah, but that's because we have trouble.
Well, and what she said our back line is really strong.
Yeah.
So she's like, so that helps. Right?
Yeah, that helps.
So to your point, it will be interesting to see what they do with that. How they support her, but also how they leverage that and working the ball. And
well, she's going to get a workout time because these Pleasant Grove, with those scores and those teams, they're going to put a few shots on.
And my thing is that like this is probably going to be the best test she's seen.
Oh yeah.
And it'll be good because AF is undefeated too. So like it'll be a good press for that. But
no, I'm really impressed with some of these wins. Who beat them?
PG. Yeah. So they lost to American Fork.
Oh, that's not a bad loss.
No, not at all.
And that's a 3-1.
AF hasn't been scored. Now they probably haven't played a lot of strong teams. Lost to Maple Mountain. Lost to Maple.
I got the app. That's all I do.
And lost to
Oh, they did.
So bad.
So they beat Maple and they lost to Maple. So they lost to Northridge 2-1.
Lost to Maple,
Lost to Maple, lost to Northridge.
Neither one of those is bad losses.
No. The Northridge one might be a bad loss. But that's second team.
And it's in overtime.
Right.
When you're in overtime, it's a goal situation, anything can happen.
Or shootout, which is even worse.
Yeah. I don't even.
I mean, I love it for the fan thing, but like, yeah, I didn't know where you wanted to put that. We can put it wherever you want.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like BYU losing last year in the national title game with Florida State in a shootout.
Yeah.
That's not a loss.
Well, and here's the thing. I totally get it. It's like, look, the game has to end somehow.
Right.
So I get it. But it's like, that doesn't make it a good way to lose. Right? Like it's a crappy way to lose.
It's not a great way to win.
I don't mind winning that way.
No, I mean, winning is winning, but I'm just simply saying there's a statistical probability associated with those that is not found in any other time in the game.
True.
And that's one of the big differences. Like if you're in a basketball overtime, if you're in a football overtime, the game is still the game.
Yeah.
You're in a soccer shootout, it's not the game.
Right. Well, I think that's a lot of people's critiques in hockey too.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's like it's one-on-one. You never had that situation.
Yeah. It's not the same.
And I'll tell you the thing that bugs me
Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind Game of the Week. Come to you live from Pleasant Grove High School as we've got a Region 4 special for you. The Pleasant Grove Vikings hosting the Lone Peak Knights. Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Dane Stewart. Pleased to be joined by Justin Heidemann. And Justin, we talk about two programs with strong history, strong tradition going head-to-head for the first time here in 2022.
I can't wait. This is going to be an incredible matchup. I mean, having an opportunity to look at what these teams bring to the table, their records, and quite frankly, their wins and losses, this is going to be a special, special game. Particularly interested to watch a freshman starting varsity as a goalie. The pressure's got to be on her today. She's going to definitely be tested for Lone Peak.
That's a great intro for the Knights, a team that comes in 8-0 overall. They're 2-0 in region play, 9-1 scoring advantage in those two region games. And you're right, it's Eliza Collings, the freshman keeper, been remarkable. 3 shutouts on the season for her. She's been fantastic. She's got great support in that back line. But this is a team, Justin, that scores a lot of goals. In Debbie and Cave, they've been lights out offensively.
Well, and I'll just tell you, anytime you're playing between the pipes as a freshman, looking at the power that these girls bring from the front line on Pleasant Grove, those shots are going to be coming hard and they're going to be coming fast. That's a different level for her. I'm excited to see how she deals with it. She hasn't been tested like this, and she's going to get tested today.
You talk about Pleasant Grove and what this program has been, what it is, what they're continuing to build. Program coming in 5-4. They're right around 500. But that record, it's a little deceiving. You look at Farr, she's got 5 goals on the year, Miller with 4, but they've got wins against Maple Mountain, Timpanogos, who's a power down in 5A, Skyridge as well, which is always great here in Region 4. This is a Pleasant Grove team you can't overlook.
Well, and candidly, you've got 2 overtime games that Pleasant Grove has already played. They've had success in tight games. All their matches have been within 1 or 2 goals. This is a team that's tested. They understand what it takes to win. They've learned how to win, and they're going to give a real good match today to Lone Peak. This is going to be something that Lone Peak hasn't seen yet.
Sarah Newman will be the starting keep today for the Vikings. She's got a pair of shutouts on the season. The junior has been strong. It's Pleasant Grove and Lone Peak. It just wouldn't be a Region 4 rivalry without these two programs going head-to-head, and we got it for you coming up next here on KSL Sports Rewind's Game of the Week.
I can't wait. This is going to be incredible.
Pleasant Grove going to be in the all blue kits today. Lone Peak in the whites. And, of course, we got to take a moment and give a shout-out. Coach Santel Jolly, head coach of the Lone Peak Knights. Happy birthday!
Oh.
Talk about putting in extra work, right? Coaches don't get a lot of the love for the time they have to put in. She's missing a birthday party tonight. That or she brought the party with her to Pleasant Grove High School. Happy birthday, Coach Jolly.
Well, the only thing she wants today is a W. That's all she's caring about at this point. And if she gets it, it'll be the best birthday ever.
She said the same thing. She was like, I'm like, happy birthday. She's like, well, we'll find out if it's going to be a happy birthday or not.
So I'm watching the lineups as they break out. It looks like you're going to have a 3-2-1-4 with regard to the way. Oh, it looks like we got a 4-2-4 actually in the way they're breaking out. So it's going to be interesting to see. They got a lot of offensive firepower for Lone Peak. They're bringing the ball up the wing, and here we go.
Lone Peak taking over here quickly. Want to let you know that clock you see on your screen, unofficials. They're looking for an early scoring chance. That scooped up there by Newman. Nice job by Sarah. Again, that time you see on your screen, unofficial. We'll do our best to keep that synchronized. At times you'll see us start it early, start it late, trying to keep that tied up to the official clock here on the scoreboard in the stadium, as the Knights here will have the throw in, courtesy of Meldrum.
PG's playing a tight high 4-man line. It looks like you've got Lone Peak playing pretty close inside the tight spaces. It's going to be interesting to see how this lineup comes. You've got a much more experienced keeper between the pipes for Pleasant Grove. I would anticipate you're going to look for her to play the ball long and try to take advantage of what really looks like a diamond formation at the back for Lone Peak. They're not going to emphasize, apparently, the offsides very much for Lone Peak, not trusting the line officials to call that. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
This ball sent up. Lone Peak trying to head that back up. We want to ask for some consideration looking right into the sun here at PG High School, as that sets will be a little bit better with the numbers, but we'll ask for patience as we try to look through glares. Lone Peak here with it, and that pass just a tad off mark. Is Train able to clear it there for the Vikings?
Lone Peak attacking up the middle. They turn the ball over immediately. PG goes up the center and then out to the wing. Impressive the way they're trying to play the ball wide. They're using both sides of the field. Lone Peak's been basically set on this left-hand side on their offensive third.
Miller dropped that to Kirk, and she ended up turning it over. This ball too long, and will roll through and out.
You know, that's one of the hardest things, I think, for young players to learn. You really have to trust and play the sideline. That ball was just so direct, it just went out of bounds.
Back in play here from Newman, looking far side, that into the shadows and out. Could not be kept in front of the Pleasant Grove bench. It'll be Lone Peak here to have the throw.
Lone Peak has really changed their formation. They've now gone to a 3-man back line instead of a 4. They do have that front sweeper, but they're playing very high.
Farr was trying to send that up the line. Good challenge there between Lone Peak and Pleasant Grove, and I think this is Farr that came away with it up through the middle here, and we're going to get the call there on the inadvertent trip.
That's not a lot of contact.
Yeah, I think in that case, that's what Abeg was saying as well. Like, I didn't touch her. Center making the call.
Long ball up the center.
Just got over the head there of Kirk, and this one off target. Boy, Lone Peak's just really not allowed PG to even establish possession yet, Justin.
Well, and you would hope if you're Lone Peak forward, you get a little better touch on that ball. It really caromed off of her back into the PG defense. Long ball off the keeper up to the middle.
That's sent up immediately and trickles
through. Big run.
Opportunity and taken away. Nice job closing that out by Sorensen.
Excellent defensive work on the overlapping run by the defensive midfielder, or excuse me, mid defender.
Lucy's pass deflected out. Pleasant Grove will go over, have the throw in. Addie Smart will take this for the Vikings. You know, as much pressure as Lone Peak has put on, PG's really done a nice job clamping down.
Well, I'm impressed with the way PG's keeping their shape. They've had a lot of pressure. That's going to loosen up as the game goes on and people get tired.
Throwing up the line there. Brought down by Lone Peak, given away there to Train. Train trying to work through the challenge. Nothing stops a Train, huh? Nice job there by Briley. Lone Peak right back on it. Near side, here's Denny.
In the corner. Cross, looking for the cross. Oh, tapped out. Oh. Surrenders the... Oh, call it as a goal kick.
Yeah, that was nice defensive work there by Briley Rogers, the senior defender.
Fortunate call.
That was all skill, Justin. Come on. Trying to settle it here.
Out to the right.
Again, Lone Peak, man, it just feels like they're plucking a lot of balls out of the air and able to establish quick possessions.
Well, and PG doesn't seem to mind the possession. They're really playing the defense, trying to get this quick counterattack. It'll be interesting to see on this free kick. Oh, the keeper comes out, so they're going to look to play this long and wide, hopefully, probably to the right-hand side. Good ball. Trap brought down in the middle.
Yeah, here's Train.
Oh, that's got to be a
pressure. Yeah, and there is the call. So that was, I think, Michelle Cave who was coming on the pressure there from Lone Peak, being called on the aggressive challenge. That ball takes a hop through.
You know, it's really hard to play on these artificial surfaces because when you play grass, the ball obviously reacts differently. Here it's like playing on cement, and the ball really moves differently, bounces harder and faster and further.
Now, one of the things, Lone Peak does have a turf field they play on as well, so both these two programs very familiar with that. But you're right. I mean, imagine, being a Skywers or something, having to play grass at home, turf on the road in these types of stadiums. It does play very differently, much quicker, hard to adjust.
Well, and a lot of these players, in fact, most of these players play at club, and so they're playing on natural surfaces. It really just changes the speed of the ball, makes the ability to maneuver it more challenging, more difficult.
Well, and the bounces as well, right? I mean, you get a lot different bounce. It's one of the things you notice whenever you go to a semifinal, and then you go from that to playing at RSL, which there's no finer surface in the state than RSL, but it's not a turf semi, right? So it does play a little bit differently. PG here will have the throw in far side. We're about 7 minutes into the contest. Still no score here, Lone Peak and Pleasant Grove.
Easily 60% possession, though, for Lone Peak to this point.
I'd even say higher. It has been very strongly possessed by the Knights. As that out of play and another throw in here for Lone Peak.
But again, the shape and formation that PG has, they don't really seem to mind to concede that. It looks like they're trying to get these counterattacks.
Nice move there. They've got numbers. Shot here off the crossbar and out of play. Good strike by the Knights. Boy, they didn't miss by much.
That was a rocket. I mean, that's from the 20. That's 30 yards out. That is an absolute rip. What a cannon.
That had trouble written all over it. Sarah Newman was able to track it. I thought it was just going to fit right underneath that crossbar. But
she may have got a hand on it, which is what pushed it up, but they called it as a goal kick, so apparently not.
Bounce there, being settled.
Aggressive challenge from the back. Oh, excellent cross.
Yeah, but went right to Addie Meldrum. PG still trying to stay on this.
Well, there's layoff up. They've got a good give and go here. If they can keep it in bounds.
Here comes
the test is coming for this keeper.
Yeah, Rogers with it, looking to center, and that's sent out by the Lone Peak defense. That was the first time PG's been in the offensive area.
That was an impressive transition. They really went from defense to offense quickly there.
Trying to chip one up, nobody home, and out of play.
You'd hope for a little bit better on that. You'd like to see that ball go to the corner instead of playing it to the center from the far right sideline, all the way trying to bring it over your head. That's a tough play.
Looking up through
Excellent
the middle.
Trap.
Good vision there to get it to McGrath. And that between a couple of PG teammates as Lone Peak back on it. Nice work there by Sorensen, able to deflect. Ooh, right back and just couldn't quite possess it. A little too hot as that sent out by the Vikings.
That give and go is just inches off the mark. If it was one step further in front, she's off and running.
Thrown in, up the line.
Great trap. Way to bring the ball down and settle.
Ricochet came off a little strong, but Lone Peak still on it here. Here's Devi, leading goal scorer, playing wide.
What I'm noticing is Lone Peak is content to move the ball around the back, change the point of attack, and really find angles. PG seems to be a little less patient, and balls like that are just kind of kicked up the middle and not really sent to anybody are what hurt their possession.
I'll tell you the other thing, Lone Peak has brought the physicality tonight. I mean, they have looked to challenge aggressively, I don't want to say a lot of contact because it's not like they've been mowing people over, but they've been right up on PG every time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that maintains over the course of the game. PG, again, they're conserving that energy. They may have more in the second half. Oh,
roller just wide. Boy, good look in the box there. And Lone Peak trying to advocate for the corner, but no call there.
You know, excellent position by the goalie. She's right on her line. She's cut down the angle. She didn't have to make the save because she was in the right place and made it difficult. That's experience.
Trying to work this around
Excellent
this
cross.
Lone Peak defense.
Oh, tough trap. There's the give and go.
Livingston,
Excellent play.
Yeah, trying to get it up the line. Nice recovery there by Sellers. And no whistle there. PG will have the throw in.
Wow.
Lone Peak would have liked to whistle.
Surprised on that non-call.
Abeg was looking to get it near side with Rogers out.
If you look at the space that's open on the left on these tight boxes, there seems to be kind of a fixation to just bring the ball back. If either team will just turn the ball to the other side, they're going to have a lot of space to operate.
Looking up. That over the head is Pleasant Grove defense retreating. Here's Kirk. She'll escort it back.
That's the equivalent of icing in hockey.
Well, except they don't bring it all the way forward, right? Look, I'll tolerate a lot of things, but you don't speak bad about hockey, Justin. That's where I draw the line, all right? Good challenge there by McGrath.
Oh, excellent.
Still on it. Yeah, Devi made it tough as the Vikings had it and gave it up.
A little bit slow on the move.
Oh, good vision. Chipping one ahead and just 2 yards out in front as Newman will gather.
Good keeper play coming out quickly to grab the ball. Big bomb.
Yeah, that's nice send up, but that
poor trap
strong.
Touch. Still back to PG.
Yeah, Miller.
She's directing traffic. Do you see her pointer on?
Yep. Miller working the far line. Lucy trying to get around. That sent out, and they say last touched here by PG. Lone Peak will have the throw in.
But that's right into the sun. Good eyes.
Yeah, it's a glare. This will be great with about 20 minutes to go in the contest. We'll be spot on. PG
Ball
able to
settled by
recover
PG.
it.
Lone Peak has the ball looking outside or on the angle. There it is. There's the give and go. Nope. Minus back. Played forward. We've got squares and forward passes available. Releases pressure.
Yeah, looking right through the middle. And boy,
great defense by number 5.
Split a couple Lone Peak players. They had people there, but it was almost like they were expecting the other, and it got right through.
That's Briley Rogers. That was excellent play. She literally stepped over the ball, nice spin move, and brought it under control and released pressure.
She made a couple nice defensive plays in the early going. JV game was played before this, 3-1. Lone Peak got the win. And varsity trying to make it a sweep here on the road as that ball through as Sorensen has a little bit of time.
Look at the difference on that. Suddenly Lone Peak's pressure is backing off. That's what's going to be interesting to see. They put so much effort out in the first 10 minutes. It'll be interesting to see how they react now that they're starting to tire and PG is suddenly starting to get more aggressive.
Space there for PG. They were trying to dial up a run for Farrer, but it was too far beyond her. And I think the first time tonight we've seen Collings with possession of it. The freshman keep.
I'll be curious to see this punt.
Moose Bingham would approve. Moose joins me on our football call, former punter, kicker.
Good ball straight down the middle. Possessed now by PG.
Boy,
that arm's way out. Yep, there's the call.
And McGrath has been strong in the middle, too. We talk about some of the defense today for PG that's been strong. McGrath, the sophomore, been good here early on as she draws the whistle.
Ball played in, brought down on the outside wing.
Support from behind Farrer. That just poked away as Kirk in support will drop it.
Excellent. They just played out of the back. It's a good ball. Excellent change of point of attack.
Boy, hard closeout there by Sellers. This sent up and off the hop, collected. Approaching our 15th minute here at Pleasant Grove. Dane Stewart, Justin Heidman with you. No score in our Region 4 battle.
You're really starting to see the pace change. Pleasant Grove has been pretty consistent. They were giving up possession, and now you're seeing that intensity drop off from Lone Peak and PG starting to assert themselves.
It is hot. It's another triple-digit day here as summer trying to wind down a little bit. But high temperatures, and you wonder how that stamina conditioning going to be as that sun setting and shadows starting to peer into the stadium here a little bit. That kept in. Looked like Lone Peak was trying to play that out. Down in the corner. Oh, nice challenge.
Excellent defense. That's an impressive win of the ball. In your coffin corner, trying not to give up the corner kick. Excellent job.
Clean. And that nearly given back.
Oh.
It is. Boy, good stick-to-itiveness, centering a pass, and that going to be gathered.
Boy, that's interesting. If you're the PG coach, you're wondering about that.
Yeah, I think it was Livingston there that was in the box. The sophomore forward nearly had the opportunity, but PG, look, they kind of had to deal with the onslaught. Now you start to see them responding a little bit with some counters.
Well, I'm impressed with their ability to maneuver the ball in tight spaces. That's really, really good, and you can see why they're such a talented team.
Meldrum throwing in up for Sellers. Sorensen trying to cut that off. Won't be able to keep that in. And we'll head to the corner for the first time tonight with Lone Peak. This is going to be a critical area tonight if you're PG defensively and Lone Peak offensively, right?
I'm curious to see how they line up. It looks like PG is willing to concede the short corner. Potentially, everybody stacked at the back of the ball, at the back or top of the 18.
From the corner, Lone Peak looking
Runners
for the
coming
first
in.
Goal into the
Header.
box, headed,
Oh!
head in.
Beautiful heading goal.
Beautiful goal for Lone Peak. It was set up well from the corner. I think it might have been Debbie that put it in play, and the finish off the header, and it's 1-0 Knights.
There's a mistake made by the keeper in this particular defensive play. She starts out on the back 2/3 where she should be. As soon as the ball is kicked, she moved to the front. Everybody's coming in from the back. So much more difficult to backpedal than it is to sprint forward. We were always taught, make sure you're at the back 2/3 and stay there until the ball moves out. That opened the angles, and Lone Peak buries it.
We talk about corners can be big momentum swings, and that one huge in the early going. 1-0 for the Knights.
Ball played up the middle by PG. They've settled it. They're on the midline, pushing to the outside. Boy, there's so much physical play on the back of the ball carrier. That is just really, really tough. And that one, of course, called for another foul. You're going to see more and more of that, I think, if they continue.
This in play from Pleasant Grove.
Ooh, header misdirected. Good outlet by Lone Peak to the corner.
Here's Sellers trying to deal with that physicality.
PG really playing direct, not really trying to build out of the back, but looking for that ball that springs.
This given over with Rogers. Rogers
Oh,
working
good big
through
run.
traffic. Bradley had that taken away.
Boy, she's just one step behind on that shot.
Here comes Lone Peak looking for a quick counter. They send this ball ahead.
Keeper should
Denny
be
trying to
coming out.
track up to it.
Oh!
That deflected. Boy, and went sideways. Probably fortunate for Pleasant Grove there.
Yeah, as a keeper, that's a dangerous ball. You're kind of in that in-between area. Keeper probably should have come out to try and run that one down.
Substitution here. Sellers going to come off for Lone Peak, and Samantha. Well, now I have to clarify. Selena Sellers coming off. Samantha Sellers, the sophomore, coming on, I believe. Again, we're asking for patience with some of these numbers we try to peer through here. Giving back.
Beautiful turn by Lone Peak. That's a great ball to turn on and then release pressure at the top, change the point of attack. Look at PG's defense trying to react. Their line's a little scattered at this point.
Battle of fives there. Rogers coming away with it for the Vikings.
Excellent move.
Sellers not giving up. She's continuing to hound Briley here.
Briley just really has impressed thus far. She is everywhere for PG.
It's given with Abeg. Boy,
A
Lone
nice
Peak.
pushing match.
Yeah, trying to take that over. Good work there by Cave.
Again, that long ball. That
one wasn't able to be gathered. Pleasant Grove, good challenge.
Excellent
Deflected,
ball.
but up.
Release pressure, out to 9. Push back to the middle. Tight passing.
Yeah.
Excellent out to the wing.
Little space here.
PG starting to build. Their midfielders need to come up and give relief.
On the far side. Nice support
Shot.
there. Boy, this one. You could tell wanted that wind up, but boy, that's a hard strike from 35.
Yeah, that's one you probably want to tap forward. You've got time. That's just kind of a wasted possession from where that was at. Could have been better.
Space here for Hunt.
One of the things they say, Dane, is that the club game is much less physical. The high school referees seem to let the players play more. Lone Peak, you see that. The pacing and the space differential on defense is about the same between the two teams, but the physicality on ball.
Samantha trying to center. That sent out immediately. Lone Peak, another opportunity. As that ball will roll through.
That was an excellent cross by Lone Peak's number 5.
They're going to say that was deflected.
Oh, they gave a corner on that.
Well, I'm actually wondering if they're bringing it back here for a kick because it doesn't look like they're heading to the corner.
They're setting up for a corner. It looks like they just haven't moved the ball yet.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. I did see that. I thought I saw deflected, but then everyone was so far out, I was confused.
It looked like
there.
he called a foul, and I couldn't understand that either. So you've got the same situation. If you notice where Lone Peak's goalie is set up, Sarah Newman, she's really kind of in the middle. Her first step seems to be forward. If that happens again, she's going to open up that angle.
This one trying to sneak it in along the line, sent out. It'll be a throw in here for Lone Peak. Good challenge there. It's Pleasant Grove trying to take that away. Support allowing the Knights to stay strong on it. Sent ahead. In between a pair of Knights. Cleared by Sorensen.
Defensive line for Lone Peak's getting a little bit disorganized as they're seeing the ball minus. You see the center mid pull forward, but they're opening up a lot of space between the left defensive back and the center back. Looks like we've got a hydration break.
Yeah, a little water break here, and so we will take a little break. We'll be back. Hydration break. You're watching Lone Peak, Pleasant Grove, Region 4 action. The Knights leading 1-0.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Welcome back. Dane Stewart, Justin Hyman with you. 1-0 Lone Peak. A beautiful goal off the corner. About the 16th minute, gave Lone Peak the goal. We don't have the player for you, and that's our apologies. We just could not see it. It was very well done, and Lone Peak has had a couple opportunities since, but PG really defensively, with the exception of that one miscue, Justin, they've played pretty strong.
Well, very strong, and I'm curious to see what adjustments they make. That hydration break is like having a timeout that you never get in soccer.
Yep. Boy, good drop back there by Lone Peak, able to pluck that away was Dowdle.
You know, you can't beat speed. Number 3 just seems to be able to be in the right spot at the right time. Oh, unfortunate deflection off the referee. He should have stopped play and given a drop ball. That was not, there was no advantage at that point.
This gathered here by Adams. Looking up,
Ooh.
boy.
That's
Don't mind the idea, but that's a hard pass to complete.
It is, but that's a great idea. And you can see that that's exactly what they've been told to do. Try and switch the point of attack, be a little more aggressive in getting the ball across the field.
Nice poke there by Smart. Lone Peak still with it.
Again, Lone Peak possessing, making PG chase. Aggressive challenge, no foul.
Time. Looking ahead. Deflected a couple times. Finally making its way to Brooklyn Dowdle. As PG back on it. Boy, good aggressive challenge there for Lone Peak.
Give and go on the outside. You've got 2 players on the wing. There's no pressure on that wing player.
Boy, there's a lot of time for Lone Peak here. Good move.
Oh,
trying to
cross.
center. Another opportunity. Oh,
what
nice
a save.
The putback just sneaks underneath, and it's a goal for Lone Peak. The Knights stay on it, and they make it 2-0.
That initial save by Sarah Newman was impressive. That was a full extension. Unfortunate, the rebound goes right by her defender, and her defender just doesn't react in time to clear the ball.
I think it was Brooklyn Dowdle with the goal for Lone Peak in the 23rd minute on the follow.
That entire play is set up because there's no pressure on the wing forward or wing player for Lone Peak. She literally drives the ball all the way to the end line before there's any defensive pressure and has a great cross.
Boy, but Justin, I mean, we kind of talked about it. There were just opportunities before that play even started where there was just too much time for Lone Peak to get set up, get the attack, and it finds the back of the net.
Yeah, you can't give that kind of space. Ooh.
This one, a roller gathered there by the freshman Collings. And look, when we were talking with Coach Jolly before the game, she said, look, our back line has been really strong. That has helped Collings as a freshman. Collings is very talented, right? But as a freshman, it is new playing varsity, and that has been helpful for her. And you can kind of see, like, they do kind of prohibit really tough situations from getting their freshman keeper.
Well, candidly, it's the midfield for Lone Peak that's really made the difference. Their back line has maintained excellent formation, excellent position, but they really haven't been tested. The midfield has just gobbled up every loose ball.
This ball sent ahead. With trouble coming out off the crossbar for the second time tonight, missing by inches.
PG's just giving up so much space in the back. They're almost conceding possession and then trying to recover, and it's just opening too many angles.
Meldrum being aggressive, plays ahead with Dowdle, and Brooklyn just couldn't quite catch up to it.
Wow, that shot was on a wide open net.
Yeah.
If she keeps her head down, that's 3-0. Very fortunate for PG that they're not down 3 goals.
Man, you want to talk about the attack, and that sort of thing is just like building momentum, right? Because you just see those opportunities so close. This ball gathered by Young.
Another
Long
shot.
Strike.
Ooh,
boy. Newman able to gather it.
Newman's been tested, and she's so far been up to the test.
Trying to settle here. Hard close out there by the Vikings, trying to win this in the midfield. To your point, Justin. Hasn't been a lot of success there for PG as this one dropped back again to the keep. Working far side now.
They're definitely, PG's strategy is definitely to try and work that left wing. But they really haven't been able to connect.
Dowdle couldn't keep that. Lone Peak right back on it. That ball trickling through and just able to clear it away. Lone Peak trying to stay on this. Couple good challenges there by Train. Oh, and that one just poked away by Kirk. Prohibiting what would have been a nice setup.
Oh, that.
Wow.
Wow.
Sent right off. Yeah, thought we might get a whistle there.
Boy, a lot of space on that left-hand side this time.
Yeah.
Ball's played to the right, unfortunately.
Pass
for
just
PG.
behind Adams. As we'll get a substitution here for the night. Selena Sellers coming back on. And we'll see Natalie Robinson checking in for the Knights as well.
I think it's Nikki Wilkes that's been running up and down that left side. And she was really frustrated on that play as they were going to throw the ball, and you could see her kind of smack her hands on her hips. She's obviously got a lot of space out there on the left, and the ball was played the opposite direction.
Michelle Cave also came on for Lone Peak at that last whistle. Ooh, and the whistle there is...
Overly aggressive challenge by number 17 from Lone Peak.
Yeah, you saw Rogers trying to split traffic, and Debbie there with the call. Debbie was involved in the first goal. I don't know if she. I think she scored. I just.
It's really.
I
Hard
wish
to
I
see.
would have saw it.
It's
Yeah,
really hard to see these
yeah,
numbers.
it
Really
is.
hard.
PG trying to seize a little bit of positivity as we're in the 27th minute here. Still on it here, the Vikings. That secondary challenge deflects it wide and out.
Dane, there's an old axiom that the worst score in soccer is to be up 2-0. You tend to lose your intensity and focus. And what you're seeing here is they're not nearly the pressure with regard to the midfield since that last shot that went in, making it 3. So it's going to be interesting, or almost making it 3. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can if Lone Peak can maintain it.
Kate Denny has come on for the Knights as that last touch by Pleasant Grove will do it again.
It's just really interesting to see the space that the center backs for PG are giving up. They really have to be concerned, I guess, about the speed of Lone Peak, or they wouldn't give up that much.
This one's sent wide. Lone Peak right back on it. Man, it just feels like there's Knights everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're just like bees. They're all over the place. A lot of space in the back, shifting the point of attack. You've got a challenge by 10.
That's sent up. Boy, little
Oh,
late
look
to
at the angle.
recognize, and now there was a
Oh.
chance this ball.
That's excellent goalkeeping.
Yeah. Boy, I thought they were looking near side. They had that kind of drift trailer on the backside, and I don't know if anyone except for Sarah Newman saw that.
I was looking for the flag to see if she was offsides, but it stayed down, so that was an excellent run.
Right back with the Knights. Here's Devi trying to work that far line. Devi showing her speed.
There's the cross.
Bella to center. And the flag up there. A whistle here on Lone Peak. Man, I mean, and that's such a great representation. It looks like Bella Devi, she's got 2 PG defenders, and she's able to use her speed to get around them on the wing. It's just been that. We've seen that on display here in this first half.
Well, and it's so difficult to make that cross when you're going full speed. You've got to turn your hips, plant your foot opposite the direction you're going, and then drive the ball. And she just does it with aplomb.
That taken away on the far line by Lone Peak once again. Sent up. And you see Sorensen trying to race back. Is that quickly cleared by Collings? Given up. Shirley had it. Oh, that one taken high. I think that went off of Cave. As Newman there will play that out. Very little other options.
That attempted clear from Lexi Kirk kind of is indicative of what we're seeing here. It's just such a direct attack by PG that it's making it easy for Lone Peak. They don't have to play the whole field, just play the middle third.
Over aggressive on the challenge there. Lone Peak will have a kick. This will be about 26 yards out. Good opportunity here for the Knights, already leading 2-0.
Sarah's got to set that wall. Sarah Newman's got to set that wall and watch anything that comes underneath it. In the Premier League games, you see a lot of players now come and lay down underneath, behind the wall underneath it, so that if the players have to jump, they can't shoot it underneath. From this distance, that's a viable option.
That right into the wall. Cleared out.
Excellent clear by PG.
Lone Peak still with it as Houston sending one ahead. Boy, they're trying to get, again, another kind of backside run there. Substitution, L. Young will come on here for Lone Peak. Pleasant Grove making substitutions here as well. I think Ross Kelly came on. Sophie Stott coming on. One more, I want to say it might be Grace Abeg coming on as well.
So I'm watching the forwards for PG. There's a good 15 yards between the offensive player and the last defensive back. PG's strategy seems to be bombing over the top, but they don't have the tight spacing that would allow the runner to beat the defensive player.
Well, and how much of that has been just because they've had to drop so much to deal with the Lone Peak pressure that it really disrupts your ability to get some of those over-the-top balls, right?
I absolutely agree. But you've got to have somebody high. It's just going to be really difficult for PG to generate any offense if they can't get that move.
That's thrown in.
Oh, excellent turn.
Yeah. Sellers, boy, she set that up so well. Looking to center, that deflected just wide.
What a great pass.
Woo! I don't know if that was intended for Denny or not, but either way, nearly got a sneaker in there.
Wow, that was, what a great turn on the ball. She shielded the PG defender perfectly and then just controlled it, tapped it back, and the shot was on.
I'll tell you the other thing about Lone Peak. How about the length of the Knights?
Yeah, tall.
Yeah, they got good height up front. We already saw, kick out of the air that was placed in the back of the net. You talk about that. Sneaky look. 33rd minute. And the whistle there on the challenge from the Knights. Talk about teams coming in. Region 4, American Fork, Lone Peak, both undefeated on the year. Both 2-0 in region play, seeming to be on a collision course for their first region matchup. Lone Peak living up to the hype here tonight. Of course, Region 4, Region 1 always so strong. And looking to be that way again here in 2022 in the early part of the year. Drop back.
The tight space passing by Lone Peak is just really impressive.
Here's Adams.
Unfortunate trap.
Yeah, you see how quickly they come and just take away any space. This ball rolling through. And Collings to gather.
PG is effectively just giving up the entire back line. There really isn't any attempt to draw anybody off sides.
This one rolling through. Good play there to get it with Rogers. Space here for Briley.
Lots of time. Good pass. Oh.
Just too strong. Abeg trying to come back to the line and split her teammates and with a lot of momentum.
Well, and honestly, you wonder if the strength of that give and go is manufactured because the balls are not on grass. The ball would have reacted appropriately if it had been, but it's on this artificial surface. It's faster.
Here's Denny. Dropping back. Up the middle.
Oh, nice back heel. Oh, excellent opportunity.
Yeah, miscommunication there. It looked like Denny was trying to set Young up, but Young had come in a little too far and gave up the run, essentially.
Great idea, though. Excellent back heel.
Yeah, yep. In our 35th minute. Looking ahead. Good challenge there. Back now with Robinson. Deflected out off the Vikings.
That was 7 completed passes in a row by Lone Peak without PG touching the ball other than to make a deflection. And that demonstrates the possession difference that you're seeing. Yeah. It's such a direct attack from PG. They're just chasing every time they lose the ball.
Well, and I mean, even if, we aren't keeping official stats here, but even just shots on goal. I mean, I don't know that PG has a shot on goal.
They don't.
And Lone Peak probably has, 5,
Well, they've
6.
got 2 off the post.
Yeah.
2 in the back of the net, and 1 that probably should have been.
A roller here, captured there by Newman.
That was an ambitious 45-yard shot.
Hey, look, there is an adage in hockey. Sometimes you just throw it on net, right?
Ooh, big elbow by PG, no call. Stolen back by Lone Peak. Pressure's just relentless.
That was just a friendly tap, Justin. This one in the middle here, Shirley had it taken away. Lone Peak working through the middle. Nice challenge.
Ooh.
Lone Peak trying to catch up to this one along that far line and could not. Well, they could, but PG
concedes
the last to touch it, yeah. Allow that defense to get set.
I'm really curious about the strategy that PG's employed with regard to these set pieces. They've got someone on the back post and now on the front, but again, they're giving up so much space between the pipes with their defensive marking. Lone Peak moves and PG just stands.
Looking backside, and that over the top will roll through and out. Thrown in here, I think with Sorensen. Had to deal with the pressure and this giving up.
This is trouble for PG. Nice shot.
Long one off the crossbar again. Put in. Oh, what a strike. My goodness. Lone Peak wasn't going to be denied for the third time. Is this one finished? And I think it was scored by Selena Sellers. 3-0 Knights.
You look at the PG defenders' body language. They're demoralized. They're not marking, and they're not moving to space. There's just so much room for the Lone Peak forwards to attack with. PG's just trying to get through the remainder of this half and get into halftime and maybe regroup.
Boy, it has just been a dominated contest tonight by Lone Peak. You see the challenge there, even affecting that pass, and Lone Peak right back on it here with Young. Through 38 minutes played, 3-0 Lone Peak. The offense continuing to find gold early and often. little bit of space here. Stott working back. Adams back up for Stott, but 5 yards in front.
It's too much on that touch pass. That looked promising for a minute. Lone Peak really had it built. They had their midfielders up. They had support. Just an unfortunate long pass for PG.
Working up. Nice pass.
Lots of angles. Oh,
boy, saving play there by Sorensen. They had two Knights full steam ahead as we're in our final minute of this opening half, and that won immediately by Lone Peak. And now space for Denny.
This is trouble for PG.
Knights looking for another one. Plays over. Young, left-footed strike out of the air, taken there by Rogers and deflected away. Big play there by Briley.
She's had a really, really solid game.
Yeah.
Holding her left arm like she's got something wrong.
After taking that one, she might. Lost out by the Knights.
Good challenge by Riley.
Yeah, final 25 seconds.
Oh, here's a build-up. Oh.
I don't know if they'll have time, though. 15 seconds left here in the half as they send it ahead. No one there. Lone Peak on it defensively. They can play back with Collins. One final clear should do it for the half. Lone Peak comes out aggressive, and it pays off. 3-0 Knights leading PG at the break. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind's Game of the Week, presented by Haddam & Associates, brought to you by the Salt Lake Running Company and Western Governors University.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Welcome back. Dane Stewart, Justin Heidman, live at Pleasant Grove High School for this Region 4 battle, Lone Peak and Pleasant Grove. It has been all nights. 3-0 Lone Peak at the break, and they're coming out again looking for more offense as that ball will roll through. But, look, had 3 ring off the post, got 3 goals, had another couple that didn't miss by much. Lone Peak, I mean, they look every bit the part of what you'd expect from an undefeated team.
Yeah, and poor Sarah Newman, she's just getting shelled back there. I mean, she's got to get – this defensive line's got to step up and mark better. They're just giving so much space, and Lone Peak's taking advantage of it.
Newman's made some nice plays today for the Viking defense. It's just been well-placed finishes, stick-to-itiveness. I mean, there's just been a lot of things, really everything that you could hope for if your Coach Jolly has gone the way of Lone Peak tonight. And for PG, it just feels like there's just hasn't been kind of that same spark to match the intensity of what we've seen from Lone Peak here tonight.
Well, and candidly, if it's not for Newman's athleticism and frankly, ability between the pipes, right now PG's looking at probably a 4 or 5 goal deficit.
And Lone Peak back on it. They're trying to play that back up. Here for Denny, was able to track that down, keep it in. Help from behind. Here's spacing again for Lone Peak. They really took advantage of that in that first half. Broken up here as the whistle will bring this back. Rogers was trying to clear it. And Briley has been good today defensively for PG.
She's been the best defensive player on the field for either team, frankly.
Justin, if you're Pleasant Grove, what do you look to do differently here in this second half?
Well, you've got to get higher. You're obviously trying to play an aggressive bomb ball over the top, and just like right now. What a pass!
Oh, boy. They were looking for Farrer, and that was just a half step in front of her as Collings was able to gather.
Boy, that looked really, really good. And that's exactly what we were talking about. If you're PG, you've got to get those forwards up on the defenders and give yourself a chance to win those through balls because you can't make up that 10-yard difference that they were giving up in the first half.
This ball sent on the wing.
Good clear.
Yeah, played out there by Kirk. Allow the defense to reset. What does impress you most about Lone Peak, what you saw from them in the first half?
You know, it's the ability to release pressure in tight spaces and then to make that short two-touch pass or two-step pass in combination play, just like you saw right there. Oh,
looking for service. That sent out. Sorensen gets it out of the box, but Lone Peak's trying to stay on it again.
They just win every 50-50 ball. Excellent short space play.
Yeah, Denny didn't quite see that initially, but was able to kind of regain it. As that one through the wickets of Miller. Lone Peak still on it. I'm trying to send one for Young there.
See, here's an opportunity for PG right now. If PG takes their forward and puts them on the 50-yard line, they can't be offsides. And if that ball goes over the top, they've got a 10-yard head start because you've got the defensive line coming all the way to the 40-yard line on the offensive third. I mean, it's just they're playing so high. PG can get them, but they've got to get set up for it.
That one taken away. Tried to stretch out. Did Kate Denny. She's back on it here.
Excellent individual play.
Yeah, Kirk was staying with her stride for stride as Sorensen was there to break it up. Devi. Livingston there to mark her.
Excellent shape by Lone Peak.
Came right up on Miller. And Knight's still on it.
Keeper coming out.
Yep.
There's a gap between the mids and the forwards. They've really got to fill that space in and give support.
High bounce.
Here's your wing.
Yeah, sent up. This well in front of any Viking. Will trickle through here to Calling. PG able to send that away. Lone Peak back with MJ Madsen. Now here's Tanuvasa. Young trying to stay on it here. Deal with Addie Smart. Smart.
Excellent ball shielding by Lone Peak. Good play back. Change the point of attack, release pressure. That's well coached right there. Lone Peak's defender just goes to the side, makes the easy release pass for the goalie, and then opens the ball back up. There's your fourth pass in a row that connects.
Tanavasa, that one was disrupted by Kirk. And Pleasant Grove now trying to deal with this aggressive pressure from the Knights.
Good move, good run. Oh. Lone Peak getting a little bit of their own medicine here. But then the 50-50 ball, and they win it again.
PG on it with that back line. Of course, a big upset today in Region 4. How about Skyridge getting the overtime win over American Fork?
Wow.
Skyridge led that game 2-0 at the break. AF tied it up in regulation before Skyridge taking care of business. So Lone Peak, the last undefeated team standing here in region play in Region 4. That's a big win for the Falcons.
You know, and that just tells you how much parity there would appear to be, because Skyridge is a team that PG won 1-0.
Correct.
Or 1-0, as they say.
1-0. Yeah, come on, Justin. It's like you've never talked this game before. Teasing. Justin is a coach in soccer and avid fan. Is that one knocked down by Calling? Nice job there to track it. Those were the first goals conceded by AF in region play, the 3 to Skyridge today. So Lone Peak also the number 1 scoring defense in region play now. Of course, they have not all played the same region teams. That'll even itself out over the duration of the season. Knights looking for an attack.
Excellent
here.
Run.
Good ball ahead. Here's Devi.
Here's the cross.
Devi, a roller into the box, and this chipped up.
It's in!
Oh, my goodness. I thought that was going to be long, Justin, and somehow that just tucks under, and it's 4-0 Knights.
I'm not sure that was intentional, but it certainly was effective.
Wow.
Lone Peak just really fills the lanes nicely on those crosses, and you see that every time. It's well coached. That's how they've scored 2 of their 4 goals. They've been a beautiful cross in. On that one, it was to the trailer. Nice little chip. Goalie's a little out of position, mistimes the jump, and the ball slips right through the crossbar.
That's a hard one. Sometimes that ball almost has a vertical drop to it, and that was the case in that one. I thought that was over the crossbar. Newman knew it wasn't, but boy, that's a hard shot to track and keep out, and it's 4-0. Here come the Vikings. A roller, Collings there with it. Here comes Lone Peak once again. Of course, Devi, the one who set that last one up.
Nobody steps up for pressure. Ooh.
That goal was scored by L. Young, number 2 for Lone Peak. And, in fact, her reaction, just had a chance to have another look at it. She almost looked as surprised as anyone after that ball went in.
Yeah, it looked like she was trying to touch the ball forward, and it skipped off of her foot. Fortunate bounce for her. But again, too much space. That space is what allows that to happen.
Kick from 41 yards out on frame. Newman.
Ooh. That's an aggressive play.
And here's an opportunity for PG. I mean, Justin, you want to talk about quick counters.
Boy,
they're trying to race up support.
Yep. Look on this left side. If they cross the ball, there's nobody home.
They'll keep it on that far side. Here's Farrer. Boy, couldn't get it to Rogers as Lone Peak, again, taking away another passing lane. And they're back on it, and now Lone Peak on the attack.
The game's really opened up here the last 2 minutes.
No kidding, huh? As that will be sent out back to the corner here for the Knights, and all those midfielders are going to have to run back down.
You know, that's a telling statistic. You don't have a single corner kick yet for PG, and this is the third for Lone Peak already.
I think it's the 4th.
Yeah, probably. And that just demonstrates.
But regardless,
it demonstrates the difference in the aggression by the forward play. These defenders are just running out of space, and so they're giving up corners. And that's just playing into Lone Peak's strengths. They've got a lot of height, got a lot of strength, and a lot of speed. And as you give that up, if you don't mark well, and right now we haven't seen that yet from PG, that puts a lot of pressure on your goalie.
This one being battled for. And, yeah, Farr there was on it. Lone Peak arms came up a little bit. The whistle there from our center. Talk about upcoming games. Skyridge, who just beat AF. Lone Peak will return home, play them, and then they'll go to American Fork. Tough back-to-back games for Lone Peak as they try to stay unmarked in region play. Is this called offside?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see that game. I mean, that's going to be a huge buildup, and hopefully the Skyridge game doesn't become a trap game for Lone Peak. They're plainly going to be looking at American Fork saying, here's our opportunity to seize control of this region, and vice versa for American Fork. They're going to say, they're going to be hungry coming off of that loss.
Yeah, barring a 30-minute miracle, this is going to be offside, yep. Barring the 30-minute miracle, they'll let that play because PG did not touch it. But barring a 30-minute miracle, Lone Peak would have a one-game lead and could extend that to a two-game lead over AF, depending on how that goes. Of course, they do have to take care of business against Skyridge, and I would presume once they get home and seeing Skyridge beat AF, that will certainly get their antennas up and be sure they're ready to go for the Falcons.
Absolutely.
Nice work there by Rogers, but just couldn't turn that corner with the possession, and Lone Peak will have the throw-in as they'll also bring on substitutions here. Maddie Hunt coming on and Brooklyn Dowdle coming on for the Knights.
You saw something interesting on that play. The ball was up in the air. It was an obvious header ball, and the player tried to play it with her feet. And I truly believe that's one of the real flaws in the rules in the younger leagues now. There's certain ages that they do not allow you to head the ball, and as a result, you're seeing a lot of players that are they're failing to acquire that skill, and I worry about that rule and what it's doing for the quality of the play.
Sent out of play, and that's the tough thing, right? Because I also understand the purpose of that. When you talk about concussions, girls soccer has a high number of concussions in it, boys soccer as well, and it always gets attributed to football because of the helmets and the head contact, but soccer deals with it a lot as well. And so, what is that right balance in between helping to teach and help familiarize with the necessary skills and yet still having player safety?
I totally understand that. It's interesting. You look at the NFL this year in training camp, they've got players wearing concussion caps.
Yeah.
And they make those same caps.
Oh, boy. Space, shot over the crossbar, high and out.
Boy, so much space there for Lone Peak. But back to what I was saying, they make those same caps, not full caps like in football for soccer players. If it were me, I would defer and say, look, if you're a younger player, you shouldn't have that rule that prevents you from developing your talent and skill. You should have to wear that cap.
That was Maddie Hunt that had the good look.
Ball outside.
It. Yeah, here comes PG trying to counter smart. But look how fast Lone Peak gets back defensively. They had three defenders around the ball and really kind of forced that up and long and out.
Yeah, that would be one where, as the coach, you'd like to see her just hold the play a square ball, and then make the run for the give and go so you can get the cross.
Crafty plays. This sent over the top and deflected. Boy, good recovery there from Sorensen as it was almost one-on-one.
That was
Lone Peak in the goalie.
That was a beautiful through ball. And a well-trapped through ball.
Well, and I love the setup to it as well because PG's playing like that's going to go inside, and the Lone Peak player, I couldn't tell if it was Young or someone else, actually purposefully played that back to the outside where they knew they had more space and could drop that over the top.
Yeah, it looked like a receiver coming over the shoulder.
Yeah. PG trying to send one ahead. This 5 yards beyond is Lone Peak with it, and they'll surprisingly play that out.
That's exactly what we were talking about. The PG player was so far back, gave up so much space, you can't make that up in the effort to make the run to grab that ball. If she had been level with the defender, she's got that opportunity. PG's got a nice build going here.
Right through the middle. And, boy, Lone Peak just forces that quick shot from far. Can't get it on frame.
PG just needs to be a little bit more patient and really build that, get a little bit closer and see those crossing lanes, and they'd have a better opportunity.
That's sent back.
It's a poor touch by one of the few poor touches by Lone Peak, but still collected. Nice give and go. Oh,
nice job winning that back here, taken by Livingston. Boy, yeah, I almost thought the Lone Peak player maybe almost conceded that, was able to get back on it there. I think that was Brooklyn Dowdle. Young.
Making the run up the middle.
Playing ahead. Nice job staying there by Sorensen to play it wide and out.
These wing players for Lone Peak are relentless on that cross into the middle for the middle run. It's really impressive. Setting up for the throw in on the side. The official missed that. That was an illegal throw in. She picked up her foot.
Look at that. They don't call him the best in the biz for nothing. He's not even wearing his glasses.
That's probably why it was a legal throw in.
Good challenge on that far side. PG coming away with it. Looking up there for Abeg. Back up.
Oh, look at the run.
Ahead. This play deemed onside, but just in front. They tried to dial one up for far, and she couldn't get there.
She was in perfect position and just 2 steps away. That was really, really good. Just a half chance there.
Here's Train. Able to send it up.
Nice run.
Smart. Boy, a pair of defenders there, and Tanavasa back with it. Oh, that one nearly given up. Just couldn't quite keep it there. Tanavasa. Up the wing, Sellers.
Good defense by Pleasant Grove on that play. She maintained her position, didn't stab, broke down nicely, got the deflection.
57th minute. Substitutions here.
You know, this is not what I expected. I really thought we would see a lot of pressure, certainly a test given to Lone Peak's goalie, and thus far, I don't think she's had to even defend a shot.
I think she's got 1 or 2, but they were
significant distance.
They were far shots, did not have a lot of complication to them, personnel deflections, those sort of things. Items that I think any freshman would appreciate to have, right?
Absolutely. And again, I don't believe there's been a single corner kick for Pleasant Grove.
There still has not been a corner for PG. Is another breakup there created by Lone Peak, and it just feels like they know exactly where these passes are going to go and just beat PG to it every time.
Yeah, they've read the PG playbook, and they're 2 steps ahead of it.
Here's Kate Fuller. She was one of the Knights that came on at that last whistle, just a freshman. Getting minutes here in this second half.
If you're Region 4, you got to be scared at how young Lone Peak can go, and there's not much drop-off. It's real, beautiful build-up.
Yeah, nice movement here is Hunt trying to get there. She'll keep this in. And that one just couldn't quite maintain the possession. To your point, Justin, we haven't talked about this. Kate Denny, Bella Devi, they're both great goal scorers. They're just sophomores. There's a lot of juniors on this roster. It is a very young Lone Peak group.
Well, and truthfully, I mean, that talks about soccer in Utah generally. I mean, if you look at what you're seeing with Brigham Young University and the University of Utah and Utah State, I mean, there is a lot of really, really good soccer being played here in the state at all levels. And I think that goes to the level of coaching. I mean, you've got some excellent coaches here tonight.
Foul here on the challenge. A whistle there. We'll give Pleasant Grove a kick here. About 37 yards out for Lucy Miller. She's looking for the net, and that sailed high and out.
That's a field goal.
Yeah. In case PG needs a kicker. Typically they have great kickers here, so I don't know that they do, but
I can think of some high school teams that could use one.
Justin, an avid high school sports fan, not just girls soccer, but football. He and I usually text about midnight on a Friday night to get caught up on all the action, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're usually right and I'm wrong.
No, it's not about right, wrong. It's you give me your intel, I'll give you mine. We're both smarter for it, hopefully.
Look at this run. Beautiful.
Yeah, here comes Fuller once again. Boy, and the support. That's just been there all night for Lone Peak.
Just a bit of a heavy touch there. If she brings that back, that's real trouble for PG.
This one sneaks through, gathered by the Knights. Here's Devi. Bella. Going to send the ball up.
Lone Peak looking for the home run ball.
Yeah, last touch there by PG is McGrath with the acrobatic play. A last touch. We're in our 60th minute.
I'm just looking at the spacing here. I mean, there's one player on PG that's within 5 yards of a Lone Peak player. Everybody else has at least 3. Just so much space for Lone Peak to operate in.
They give this right back. Madsen looking for service, headed up. One-timers and gathered.
It's not a bad shot.
Not at all. One that Devi, I'm sure she would love to hit that more directly, right?
Yep.
But, look, you get a great opportunity from 15, 17 yards out.
It's a good volley. Oh, nice touch.
Here's Tanavasa. A quick close out there by Farrer. She's still going strong. Not wanting to end the game with no goals. This one given up. Abeg tried to give that back. Tanavasa able to recover defensively.
No, Farrer is just all over right now. She's really given a lot of effort, even though the score is not in her favor. I'm impressed with that.
I talked about a leading goal scorer for Pleasant Grove coming into the contest. And look, despite, again, we talk about a 5-4 record. They haven't been shut out. So they've scored in all their losses. They've got 2 shutouts in their wins. So unfamiliar territory here for the Lady Vikings.
And again, that's why I'm surprised. I really, coming into this game, anticipated the test would be put to Lone Peak's goalie, this freshman goalie. And she's been very fortunate today. That back line, and more particularly the midfield for Lone Peak. I mean, if there's an MVP in this game, it's the midfield for Lone Peak. They have controlled possession completely.
Well, we're going to ask you that question here in about 15 minutes, 18 minutes.
You're going to make it tough for me then.
Yeah.
Can I choose an entire third?
Look, you thought this was going to be easy. No, it's not. It's not. This ball will be kept in. That was Bryn Beck. With it, Lone Peak playing ahead. Again, space here for Fuller. Fuller sending ahead.
What a ball. That's a beautiful through ball.
Catching up Samantha Sellers, looking for the center. And a nice job kind of retreating by PG to take that away was Lexi Kirk. Lone Peak to throw in. Here's Sellers. Just made that. Or excuse me. That was 6, I believe. Allie Johnson. Up with Devi. Devi trying to work around this PG defense again. Hits the brakes. Coming back to the middle. Bella. Oh boy. Great idea. And I don't know if Brooklyn Dowdle knew that was coming. Look, that maybe caught her by surprise.
Boy, I'll tell you what. There's just too much space for PG tonight. The fact that they were able to get that ball across, and then the runner that came across, I mean, that doesn't miss by much. It's 5-0 if that connects.
Evie Scott has come on for Lone Peak. Pleasant Grove also made a substitution. I think it might be Kathleen Ross Kelly. Nope, it's 14 L. Shirley has come on for the Vikings. And I say that maybe caught Lone Peak by surprise. I don't think it did. I just think they were a half step behind that. They didn't see that coming as quickly as it was set up. But you're right. It did not miss by much. Knight's on it again here with Devi.
What a pass.
Up ahead, and it's offside.
Oh!
Tell you what, put that on the film for Sarah Newman. Huh?
Absolutely. What a great kick save. I mean, she didn't know the ball was offsides, and that should have been buried even though it was offsides. The only reason it's not, Sarah Newman put a great kick save on.
It won't go down in the official books, but I'm crediting it. Because that was a nice play by Newman despite it being offside.
Yeah, that was fabulous. That's that moment as a goalie that you truly hate, when you look up and it's the ball, the other team, and you.
Yeah. I can't imagine. You can.
I can.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
That center deflected. PG. Plays wide. I just couldn't get on it quick enough. And again, Lone Peak, boy, just their speed tonight has just been evident.
Whoa, you got a lot of space here. This is
Kanavasa.
trouble for Pleasant Grove.
She's got a couple runs set up. Working
Excellent
over the
cross.
top. Dowdle to center. Fuller able to keep
There's
it.
a hit.
This chip.
Ooh!
And taken by Newman.
Sarah Newman has really played a tremendous game. She's going to feel badly because of the score, but she has done a tremendous job tonight.
I think she's done everything she could. I know that first goal on the corner, you talked about her position. You would have liked her a step or two back. This one centered.
Oh, on it!
And it gets through. Oh, I thought Newman had a hand on it, but just couldn't keep it out, and it's 5-0 Knights.
You know, I cheer for the goalies, and I that's a heartbreaker. I mean, she was in the right position. She got the ball. She got her hand on it, but the ball had so much spin that her gloves couldn't contain it, and it just pops off. But, I mean, that shot was from less than 5 feet away. Her reaction time on that was tremendous. Certainly not her fault.
Samantha Sellers, the sophomore, credited with the goal.
Another great cross, though, by Lone Peak.
That's one where, I mean, even that shot is coming so deep. You know, you get a hand on it, but that's such a difficult save for a goalie.
It's just pure reaction. There's no time to actually think through what to do. Boy, I mean, Lone Peak wins every 50-50 ball. Every single 50-50 ball tonight.
I mean, could they have played any better tonight, Justin? It just feels like everything, they haven't made a mistake. It just doesn't feel like they made a mistake tonight.
Well, and candidly, I did not think they could maintain that level of pressure for the entire game. I really didn't. I mean, they were moving so quickly. Their fitness is very impressive because it hasn't fallen off.
And I felt like first 10 minutes they came out, and it was like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
And then it kind of peeled back for about 5 minutes. It was like, all right, PG's settling into this game now. The moment they got that first goal, it has been pedal to the metal since.
Yeah, PG's had no answer. Even though I really, you know, we were talking at halftime, I don't see that big of a difference in the talent level between these two squads. But the fitness level and just the want to is really, really markedly different.
Substitutions here for Pleasant Grove. Ross Kelly coming on, as does number 27. That's Sophie Scoville. Also had a third substitution, trying to see that number. It's on the far side. Just need the player to turn around for us. I think it might be 23, Natalia Ruvalcaba, I think.
Well trapped and won by PG.
Far, trying to play to the middle, step in front. Oh, boy, and that one given up to Fuller.
That's a giveaway in the middle of the field, offensive third.
Here's Sellers, Samantha trying to pair up. They got help in the middle. And that deflected away by Sorensen. She kind of sold out to make a stop there and
very fortunate.
Able to play away.
Very fortunate for PG. That was almost a terrible mistake in the middle. Still, they gave up the corner kick. And again, that's got to be 6 or 7 at this point.
I think it's, I would guess 8-ish, 8 or 9. It's been a number of them.
That's really, really hard to deal with. You give up that many and you don't have any, and there's 12 minutes left in the game. It's just that demonstrates a level of aggression by one team that the other is not matching. Good ball in.
Yeah, top of the box. And
good clear.
Down.
Good clear. Oop.
Lone Peak chipping back up. Gathered by Newman. We'll settle on 7. You said 6. I said 8. We'll settle on 7.
Yeah.
It's around that. Regardless, it has been one-sided when it comes to corners tonight.
Well, and it's not just the shutout on the scoreboard. I mean, you've been shut out on corner kicks, and that's a defensive domination I have not seen in a really long time.
I was talking with Coach Jolly before the game, talking about playing in Region 4, and she just spoke about how difficult this region is, how good it is. And look, we'll have a chance to see. I know Region 1 really strong in soccer. We've talked about that as PG looking here for an opportunity. But I think Lone Peak has really just flexed the muscle tonight. And you talk about two teams that before the year, figured to be in contention for Region 4, and it has just been a one-sided event. As looking up again here, Sellers has Fuller with her, plays to the freshman. Fuller, boy, I thought she was going to take that shot.
Well, and Dane, I'm looking at these scores for Lone Peak. They beat Westlake 7-0. They beat Bingham 3-0. They beat Green Canyon 8-0. They beat Farmington 3-0. I mean, they are putting up, and as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, they've got 31 goals in 8 games. That's just, and they've got 5 here tonight.
They gave up 2 goals in the season opener against Alta. In the 7 games since, they've given up a combined 3.
Wow. I mean, these guys, Lone Peak is going to be very, very difficult. They're going to be a hard out when it comes to tournament time because they put so much pressure on you offensively.
There's a movie line that I love, and it comes from the movie Miracle, and it's "The legs feed the wolves." And when I see this Lone Peak team, that's the line that comes to my mind, right, is the legs feed the wolves. Their speed, their length, their athleticism, their sheer just stick-to-itiveness, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just 110% for a full, 90 or 80 minutes, and it's good luck keeping up with that. Doesn't mean the teams can't, right? Weird things happen in the playoffs. But, man, you better be fit and ready to go when you play the Knights.
Yeah, I mean, their motivation level is off the charts. As I said, I'm amazed that they were able to maintain the intensity that they played with. Their fitness is ridiculous.
And they don't back down. I mean, 4-0, you could have just said, all right, we'll just take time off the clock, right? But they're continuing to push, and it's been impressive.
Well, and I commented, the worst score in soccer is when you're up 2-0.
Yeah.
That's usually when you get beat. And instead of that, it's gone to 5-0.
Here's Sellers, Samantha looking to center, and that broken up.
Look at how much space there was on that center, though. I mean, Sellers is 5 yards off the nearest PG player, and she's trying to just pick an angle. I mean, you're actually making it easier for Lone Peak to do what they want to do, and that's a problem.
That played out again. Regardless, we had this question. It will be a happy birthday for Coach Jolly. She will take this and go get some cake or a slice of pie or something and have yourself a night.
Well, and on top of that, PG is going to learn a lot from this game.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to come away from this game, they're going to look at the film, and they're going to say, we could have done a lot of things very differently schematically that would have changed the outcome of this game. And, that's a good place to be in. When you're a soccer team, when you're a young soccer team, and you're in a position that you can actually make and affect changes because you have the personnel to do it, you just have to change up how you're playing.
Well, and that's the other thing, right, is that, look, I think it would be pretty realistic to expect Lone Peak will be a semifinalist in 6A this year. Again, weird things happen. I'm not guaranteeing that, but you could see this team making a deep run in the 6A state playoffs. You now know what it looks like and what it's going to take to get there.
Yeah.
And so now you've got, 6 more weeks to get that ironed out, figured out, and ready for your playoff push. And you've seen it, you've played against it, and you've got a lot of time. You've got a second match against them coming up. You can go and work on a couple things and come back ready. But, man, there's some work to do.
Well, if we're having our Friday night conversation about these two teams, I'm going to say the same thing that we talked about earlier. I don't think that there's a massive talent disparity between these two teams. But I do think that there is a style of play and a motivation of play, and that was another great stop by Sarah Newman.
Yeah,
she
that one
is an impressive goalkeeper.
Fuller fought through traffic. I don't even know how she got a shot off, but Newman stayed focused on it, was able to keep it out of the net.
Well, and the nuance that a lot of people won't see is the angle. I mean, Newman, she's making the save before the save actually occurs because she's in the right place at the right time. And that's good experience, that's good coaching, that's good instincts, and it's really tough to do. Candidly, I think it's harder to do on a field like this for one reason. It's illegal, but a lot of goalies on grass will go out and put a little mark on the 6-yard box in the middle so they don't have to look back to see where they're at. You can't do that on a turf field. So it's really, really well done.
This ball sent up. Collins able to gather. Kept her eyes on that.
I really would like to see PG get a good shot on frame just to see the athleticism of this freshman goalie. It'd be fun to see.
Well, they've got 6 more minutes to do it. And, I mean, even the shots have to be 10-1, 10-2.
Yeah, I don't know that Lone Peak's faced a really serious threat all night long.
No.
Any shots that you would identify as being on frame have been from 35 or 40 yards out, without much behind them.
This ball will roll out. PG will have the throw in. We talked about upcoming schedules. PG will have Corner and Westlake, so a chance to kind of regather the troop, get things righted again. Again, this is a team that, to your point, Justin, they've got the players to do it. We've seen good keeping tonight. I know that some would be like 5 goals. It's been good keeping tonight. It's been some tough situations that Newman's been put in, but they've got players that can score. They haven't been able to demonstrate that tonight. The possession obviously has been one-sided, but this is a group that there were preseason expectations around, and sometimes it just takes time for units to gel, and we're just still a couple weeks into the season. It's not,
Well, and I'm looking at the combined records for Corner Canyon and Westlake, and that's an 0-4 grouping.
In region.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I'm saying to myself, if I'm PG, this is a chance as a coach to build the confidence in these players, to get them on a hot streak. And, boy, I'll tell you, particularly with goal scorers, they get hot and things get really interesting really quickly.
And some of it is just playing with confidence. And you can see the confidence that Lone Peak plays with. You talked about it coming out of the second half. Is this centering attempt given over and just wide. But coming out of the second half, Lone Peak, they're like jogging on. And, hey, we get one more half, let's go. Right? You could just see that. But you talked about this PG team. They lost to Bingham. They lost to Maple Mountain. Those were, games where they struggled to get the offense going. That was how they came into region play. They beat Skywards 1-0. You lose to AF. It kind of feels like lost 3 of their last 4. Maybe just some of that confidence. Need to get that rebuilt. And, I don't know. Look, Corner and Westlake are good programs. Those are not going to be easy games. But to your point, they're going to be hungry, looking for their first region wins. If you come play like you can, maybe that's how you get back on track and get some of that confidence again.
Well, as a coach, I can tell you, we had a goal scorer, and he just kind of went dry. He wasn't getting it on frame. He's getting a lot of opportunities. We ended up with a penalty kick, and our hot scorer, we didn't have him take it. We had our other scorer take it. He put it in the back of the net, and the next game he scored a hat trick. I mean, with these forwards, these strikers, you get them hot, and something changes. And, boy, that's another tremendous save by Newman. Oh, my goodness.
Coming out and then retreating, getting back on it.
She has just played the game of her life. Without her, I don't know what the score would be. PG is
this
really
game would
fortunate.
be over.
Yeah. PG is really fortunate. They have got an excellent goalkeeper.
Good recognition there. Able to get back, break it up. PG, as we're through 77 minutes. Over to Farr.
Ooh.
And kept that in.
Yeah, that's a great effort. I'd love to see them get a really good shot here at the end of the match and just see how Lone Peak reacts to it.
They'll have the throw in here. They'll bring on a substitution.
And you would think PG would be pulling players up, given the score and the time. This might be their opportunity to see if we can get one for them.
Throw in. Headed out. We'll do it again.
They're in a good position here if they build.
This one trickling its way through and
nobody home.
Yeah, sent out there by Dowdle.
And Lone Peak on the counterattack.
Yeah, boy, they got numbers too coming up in support. Trying to peel back to the middle there, broken up by the Vikings and cleared up.
Was that Briley again?
Hard to tell.
Boy, it's so far away in the
Yeah.
light. It's just tough to pick out the numbers. But, boy, she's played a great game.
Inside of the final 2 here at Pleasant Grove High School. Lone Peak will be sitting atop Region 4 all by their lonesome. As that ball broken up on the defense of Isla Bazant. Sent up. Snuck by the first night player, Tanavasa there, to send back up. This ball rolling through, and will have enough to get out. It'll be kept in and then sent out. One where you just let that go, right?
Yeah, it's a difficult touch at this time in the game. You got about 55 seconds. If you're Lone Peak, you're not in any hurry at all to put the ball in play, and they certainly aren't. I don't even see anybody with the ball yet.
Yeah, it trickled all the way back into the defensive half of the stadium. This is probably the slowest we've seen Lone Peak move all night.
Yeah,
I say that in jest.
I do too, and that's good sportsmanship. I mean, there's no reason to. I appreciate that on the part of Lone Peak.
Final 30 seconds. Quick goals for Lone Peak. Scored in the 16th and the 23rd to make it 2-0. The backbreaker scored in the 38th right before the half. That really felt like it took a lot of air out of the sails. And then goals in the 48th and 65th. And look, at least 4 different scorers, maybe 5 different scorers for the Knights as this throw-in out of the box, and that will do it. Lone Peak making a Region 4 statement with a 5-0 win over Pleasant Grove. Justin, your final thoughts and a player of the game.
Well, you said the right word. I mean, statement, absolutely. And candidly, I think the player, it's really hard to choose a player of the game here. You've got a midfield that completely dominated possession. You've got a goalkeeper who has 3 clean sheets, and in this case, didn't give up a single a single corner kick. I mean, honestly, I think you've got to go with the number 6 spot for Lone Peak as player of the game. She distributed the ball. I don't know how many assists she had, but it was very, very effectively played and managed both on the offensive and defensive end, and that starts with her at number 6.
Lone Peak looking like a complete team. The offense was crisp, the midfield controlled, and the defense really locked down PG. 5-0, Lone Peak defeats the Vikings on KSL Sport Rewind's Game of the Week. For Tino Psyche, Justin Heidemann, my name is Dane Stewart. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on KSLSports.com. Good night, everybody.
Good night.